It is the 2nd of December 2014. The countdown to the end of the year has just begun. Now, thank you very much for joining us in the newsroom. My name is Joshua Poro. Let's look at the top stories. 36-ton quarry workers massacred in Kenya attack. Muliagonja credits the media for exposing the corrupt. Opposition against Olanya charging poll reforms debate. Suspended Yala speaker determined to fight on. And WEC's oldest lion, Chibonge, laid to rest. Now, starting with President Museveni on IDs, President Yoweri Museveni has launched the first batch of the national IDs. He toured the Data Processing and Production Center for National Identity Cards at Kololo Airstrip today in the morning. However, by the time we came on air, President Museveni was yet to arrive at Kololo Airstrip for the launch. Now, we will keep you posted about the proceedings on our subsequent TNR bulletins. Moving on, Kenyan President Uhuru Kenyatta has sacked his interior minister and accepted early retirement for the head of the police hours after Somali's armed group Al-Shabaab said its fighters had killed at least 36 people at a stone quarry in the northeastern city of Mandera. Here's more.
Gunmen have massacred at least 36 quarry workers in a fresh attack in Kenya's northeast. Police and the Red Cross said on Tuesday, the latest in a series of strikes in the troubled region bordering war-torn Somalia. The attackers sprayed gunfire at tents where the workers were sleeping in the early hours of Tuesday morning near the town of Mandela, where Somalia's Al-Qaeda-affiliated Shebab and other militia have carried out a string of raids. The gunmen then separated non-Muslims from the other workers, beheaded several and executed the rest with a bullet to the head. Police sources and the media report said a pattern of attacks similar to the killing of 28 people on a bus in the same region last month. The quarry killings follow a separate attack Monday night in the town of Wajir, which, like Mandera, is close to the dangerous border with war-torn Somalia, which left one person dead and 12 wounded when gunmen hurled grenades and fired into a bar.
Now, the Inspector General of Government, Irene Muliagonja, has lashed out at government officials who criticize her, saying that she is only answerable to Parliament and the Constitutional Court. Muliagonja in a Tafton was at a media dialogue at Serena Hotel under a theme accelerating the fight against corruption, a collective responsibility.
And for as long as I'm exercising the powers under Article 230 of the Constitution, these are not small things. These are constitutional issues. The mandate is specified in the Constitution. The functions and powers and the people over whom we have jurisdiction are also specified in the Constitution. So, for you to say that a minister will order me to do something, you are then going outside the ambit of the Constitution.
Muliagonja, however, commended the media for the role they play in exposing corrupt government officials.
Being explained by yourselves, either by disclosing sources or by showing that what you have published is truth and not sentiments. Because I have seen reports, especially about myself, and I will talk about one that appeared last week, where one of the media houses talked about how I am sabotaging the payment to ISO employees. That media house did not even try to come and ask me why I appear to be sabotaging the payments of ISO employees.
Local government officials were pointed out as being corrupt, with close to 2,000 complaints registered against them this year. But so far, 2,272 corruption complaints this year have been investigated, and a total sum of 600 million shillings has been recovered, as well as a loss of 24 billion shillings prevented.
Registered 2,798 complaints. 1,009 of these were raised against ministries, departments, and agencies. But close to 2,000, which is 1,789, were brought against local governments.
The IGG's office further boasted of the numerous arrests of corrupt government officers and vowed not to rest until corruption is no more.
In my view, this session seeks to answer the question by advocating a joined-up response to corruption and building technical capacity in critical areas of evidence gathering, investigations, and reinforcing prevention of corruption.
Now, the opposition has vowed not to allow the Deputy Speaker, Jacob Oulanyah, to chair a parliamentary session in which proposals of free and fair election will be debated. The leader of opposition in Parliament, Wafula Ogutu, says that Oulanyah has always shown that he is biased. The proposals, which amongst other things want term limits restored, are to be tabled in Parliament very soon.
The opposition says it's seeking for ways to discuss the proposals outside Parliament. However, Wafula Ogutu says if it all fails, the Deputy Speaker should not chair. Speaking during the 16th National Prayer Breakfast in Kampala in October, Oulanyah described the president as a true hero, adding that restoration of term limits is possible but unnecessary. According to the opposition, this opinion that also sparked debate affirms that the Deputy Speaker is biased and cannot fairly chair the discussion on electoral reforms, which among other things calls for the restoration of term limits.
Would have preferred that we negotiate these reforms outside the Parliament. If that doesn't happen, and if they are brought here, we are not going to allow a person like the Deputy Speaker, because as shown his bias, so he can't be a chairperson. And so we shall ask somebody else, maybe the Speaker herself to chair, but not him, because already he told us where he falls, and he might not be a fair chairperson.
The proposals were discussed last week at the National Consultation Meeting, which was attended by different stakeholders. Meanwhile, in their end-of-year address, the opposition has urged government to involve them in developing the nation. The opposition cited excessive expenditure this year and said it could have been avoided if government took advice from the opposition.
Iyala Speaker Margaret Ziwa has for the first time held a press conference in Kampala since her suspension. Ziwa said she's not found any reason to resign from her position as the Iyala Speaker, and she is going to fight on. Now, Ziwa was suspended a week ago for misconduct.
She's been through tight waves since election into office in 2012, with forces from around demanding that she leaves the job. She, however, insists she won't go.
I've been a Commissioner of Parliament of Uganda. I've chaired the Committee of Presidential and Foreign Affairs. I chaired Honorable Agura Wari, Honorable Sosidi Ogwala, Honorable Todonga, Honorable Beta Mongi. I was their chairperson for over 4 years. So you can't sit here. When I take a decision to adjourn the House sign die, under Rule 82, I've taken that decision. And I know why I've taken it.
Ziwa also reacted angrily to claims that her husband, Francis Babu, who is the chairman, Uganda Broadcasting Association, has been a key factor to her success in politics.
That I can only be competent by the help of my husband. Very unfortunately. But I can tell you, there are many sayings, but the one of regarding my leadership is entirely my responsibility.
Ziwa is serving a 21-day suspension for purported misconduct. Her lawyer had this description to the suspension.
So what they did is of no legal consequence. But the media portrayed it as if she had been suspended. No, what they did is head prefect and your prefect suspending the headmaster. The headmaster would of course turn up on Monday and address the assembly. You would have simply expressed your wishes.
The committee accuses Ziwa of, among other things, banging the table during parliamentary sessions, nepotism, failure to negotiate a 200% salary increment, failure to influence the buying of Iyala sports uniforms, failure to rotate parliamentary sessions across East Africa, wearing high heels and overknocking them on entrance into parliament, among others. She's being investigated by a legal committee headed by Dora Byamukama, her long-term rival.
Well, that is the East African Parliament for you. Now, the tourism sector has been urged to double its efforts in protecting lions. Now, speaking before Chibonge Monas at Entebbe Wildlife Center, the Tourism Commissioner, Akankwasa Barije, expressed worry over the extinction of lions in Uganda, adding that 62% has declined in the last decades. Akankwasa was speaking at the burial of Chibonge, the oldest lion at the Uganda Wildlife Education Center.
Not only that, she having daughters or sons?
No. Speaking before Chibonge Mourners at Entebbe Wildlife Center, the Tourism Commissioner Akankwasa Barije expressed worry over the extinction of lions in Uganda. While describing the disappearance of lions and dinosaurs, Barije urged the tourism sector to double their efforts in protecting lions, adding that 62% has declined in the last decades.
What? Cub? Zara. Who is that one?
He further speculated that the next decade's future generation may simply read about the existence of lions if nothing is done to save their lives.
We therefore must conserve lions if we must continue enjoying these benefits from tourism.
According to Barirega, apart from apes like gorillas, lions play a fundamental role in accelerating economic growth and development of the country. Medical reports revealed by James Musinguzi, the Executive Director of Uganda Wildlife Education Center, UWEC, revealed that Chibonge had been bedridden due to a series of illnesses. Musinguzi added that some of his body parts have been chopped and stashed away ahead of post-mortem results. Chibonge, a wild-born lion, abandoned at Nairobi National Park in 1997, was pronounced dead last Friday as a result of old age, leaving behind two wives, Zara and Biza, and two daughters, Mutagamba and Flavia. A 6-year-old male lion is to be imported from South Africa to perform his former duties.
Well, may Chibonge's life rest in eternal peace. Meanwhile, stakeholders responsible for promoting Uganda as an attractive investment destination are forging ways of streamlining the process investors go through to set up businesses in the country. This came in the wake of a World Bank report that ranked Uganda 150 out of 189 countries in the Doing Business report. We have more.
Getting connected to the power grid, registering a business, and obtaining the construction permit are among the major hindrances cited in this year's Doing Business report that was conducted by the World Bank. The different stakeholders came together this morning to find a way of making Uganda a more attractive alternative to investors, thus being more competitive in the region. Officials hope that the cooperation between the various stakeholder bodies are a step in the right direction if progress is to be realized.
And this is an achievement because we realize the potential out there. Many people do not have information on registration. Many businesses are not registered and are formalized as such. So it takes a concerted effort of government agencies, and the three main players are Uganda Registration Services Bureau, which is the startup for businesses. You cannot do business registration without URSB.
The surveys that led to this report were carried out during the time when we were still dealing with a backlog of plans. So there was that time when people were submitting plans and they were unable to get for more approvals. Now that led to a pile of about 2,100 or so.
The chairman of Uganda Investment Authority, Frank Seboa, highlighted the need for an independent homegrown study that will reflect the reality on the ground as far as business is concerned.
That we as Ugandans must form our own assessment of how easy it is to do business. But that our own assessment must be better than the World Bank record. In other words, we should include what the World Bank is looking for, plus these other good things we do.
The stakeholders reinforced their commitment to fast-track an establishment of a one-stop center that will involve all relevant stakeholders in helping investors set up businesses as well as adopting ICT to help avoid corrupt tendencies and make the entire process shorter.
Electoral reforms are one of the biggest needs of Uganda right now. But says who? Well, Samson Kasumba is going to tell you who exactly says that in the full briefing. This is the newsroom. Don't go away.